Buenos noches, YouTube. TKE here, wearing this shirt for like the third day in a row. Yeah, definitely gonna get myself all cleaned up. But, got an interesting episode for you. This one's definitely gonna be charged, way charged, supercharged. So if you don't like drama or what have you, if you don't like political scandal, get the hell out. Go away. Leave the room. Turn off the video. All of you who are still cool. First of all, I left my job finally. Just as a side note, they finally cut me free. Apparently they didn't want me for the last 2 days of my resignation, so I'm a free citizen. Ah, it's so wonderful. For like the next 2 weeks, and I gotta go find a job. Time for late night movie talk. Another late night movie talk, because I rented some movies again from my local Hollywood video. What? And, yeah. So we're gonna start off with the first one that we watched. My family and me, this Disney Pixar thing, Ratatouille. I used to be a big Pixar fan, and I still think Ratatouille was good, but I think it's still a down slump. It's still working down. I think, if you really want to watch how it goes, okay, ready? It goes Monsters, Inc. Okay, Monsters, Inc. is here. You had Monsters, Inc., then you had Finding Nemo, then you had The Incredibles, then you had Cars. And then you have Ratatouille. And Ratatouille kind of brought it back up. Yeah, I like their Pixar movies. The one thing that kind of got to me was really, I always think that Pixar's movies are very, for children movies, they're highly intelligent. Am I the only one who notices that? I mean, you know, in the end, when, like, supposedly the food critic who was, you know, doing the Rats, you know, reviewing the Rats restaurant, or the restaurant where the rat works, he says, he gives, like, this really heartfelt soliloquy that kind of has to do with the social concept that, like, you know, he who is the what's the word? The critic does not put himself in danger unless he backs something new and scary. And I'm like, and kids are gonna get this how? It wasn't really that funny. That's another thing that my mother pointed out. She goes, it's not that funny. And I'm like, well, it's still clever. A lot of it was done pretty cleverly, and was, yes. The next movie we watched was I Am Legend with Will Smith, black action star. I Am Legend, good, cool movie, based off a better book. Really good movie. I really like this one. I saw it in the theaters. Really not bad. And really, here's where it gets kind of politically charged. Just to say, if you ever watch this, honest to God, a lot of times, this is how I feel. Just in the very end, when he's screaming, "I can help you! I can help all of you!" But they just keep bashing their heads in on the glass. That's, which I might have just ruined that for somebody, so... Crap. Spoiler alert. I'll put one up. Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel sometimes. I swear that the world, that this country is just inhabited by a bunch of screeching animals that are like running on. You know, when he says, sometime in the movie, he says, human behavior completely eradicated. I'm like, yeah, basically all good, you know, God-given behavior of well, and this is proof. Last movie on the list, Michael Moore's Sicko. Wow, go see it. Watch it. You'll be terrified. Just, you know, I mean, no offense, but yes, I assume most of my audience out there is American. I don't have to say some shit that's gonna piss some bugs off, but here it goes. I don't consider myself an American. I hate America. I'm very anti-American. And it's not that I hate America, like, you know, I don't hate, like, you know, football, and I don't hate, like, little kids, and I don't hate, you know, what I'm saying is I hate the spirit of America, and I believe that this is the spirit of America. He even says so. He says, how do we judge, you know, what do you believe about our society? That he says was dumping people who cannot be helped, is dumping, you know, people who don't have any health care out on the street. They go to hospital if they're sick, so they dump them out. And he shows these, just go watch it. It's phenomenal. But I want you to think one thing for me. Understand what I was thinking. It's jaw-dropping how horrible we treat our own citizens, like some kind of like Nazi military nation. And it's amazing. It's more than I even thought. The type of benefits you can get in a socialist or a more socialist nation like England, Canada, Cuba. Cuba. You should see the healthcare he gets these people in Cuba. Oh my God. And the Cuban doctors just seem so nice. And you know what? The socialist mindset, again, reminds me of the Christian mindset. Which is why it freaks me out that, like, you have all these, like, conservative Christians who are like, you know, oh, and them communists, they're from Satan. Satan brings us the communists and capitalists is holy. And I'm thinking, capitalism, the system which is really, to me, satanic. if you think about it, I'm not saying it's all inspired of Satan. What I'm saying is that the driving mindset behind it, which is you need to compete, you need to slit the throat of your enemies, you need to be strong, and survival of the fittest, and it's capitalism, yeah. And it just seems very, very Roman-esque, almost like pagan, like worshipping false idols, whereas communism, a socialist system where we say, well, God loves everybody, whether you like him or not, so we all have to pull together and we all have to do our part to make sure that people aren't going to get hurt. We all have to help people. I'm like, oh, gee, that sounds like what Jesus would want. But regardless, I want you all to know there's a couple parts where they're describing why it's like that over in Europe. And someone finally says, because over here, we're healthy and we're educated. And he says, and the government doesn't want you to be healthy and educated. The American government doesn't want you to be healthy and educated because healthy and educated people who think free, often take steps out of line. They act, how shall I put it, nerdy, geeky, if you will. I'm saying, in a sense, that they're stepping out of line. You know, I don't want to go shop at Hollister, even though we basically preach on it, that's fashion. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to, drag you, a government agent's going to drag you out of a car and shoot you if you're not wearing a Hollister shirt. I'm saying it's the spirit, man. I'm saying, in the spirit of being indifferent, and that's what I'm trying to say is that I believe that it kind of works into my omni theory somehow, that I believe that being into these geeky subjects, reading comic books, reading regular books, debating theology, playing video games, it helps expand your mind. I think it helps keep you mentally sharp a little bit, at least, play Bioshock. Play Bioshock, and Bioshock clearly takes a stand and says, who are we to screw with the way that God made us? It won't end well. All these weird surgeries, like the breast enhancement surgery and the ribo, that's going to turn into some shit that's really weird. Just an opinion, and you can argue against it. But the point is I'm trailing off the point here. But I think what I'm trying to say is that I thought, what is the difference between here and there? And they said, over in Europe, the governments are afraid of the people. The people are always marching, are always screaming, and they're always keeping government in line like a dog on a short leash. In this country, the dog has the human but the leash. And I said, why is that? And I said, because I truly believe that in this country, because of advertisement, and the advertisement that you see everywhere, in TV, radio, movies, books, we assault young people. From the time we are born in this country, we assault them with the American mindset. The American mindset of, and it works in everything. They say, to be a good American, to be a good human being, to live in this country, you must compete for a good job. You must compete to be a beautiful person. You must be the thickest and the most chiseled, and you better be this. And then we will accept you. Then you will have a better chance of passing on your own genetics. You will live, and that's all that matters. It's not about helping people. It's not about being rich in freedom. It's about just conforming to this standard, it seems. And I'm not the first one to say that. Watch They Live. Watch a movie called They Live. Look it up. I'm not the first one. He says exactly the same thing, almost word for word, except for what I believe almost. That in the advertisement there is not a subliminal, I don't believe in a subliminal message, but it's an over message. It's a clear message. We want you to be this. We want you to be rich. We want you to be white. We want you to be a thin woman with big tits, and we want you to be a rich man with big pecs, and we want you to have a nice job and drive sports cars. No one believes me, but you know what? Everyone in this country, no one believes me in this country, but somehow I look at these Europeans and I say, they're doing exactly what I would want them to do. To change the country, we'd have to do what they do. Just watch the movie. Watch how they unite against the cops and they say, we want this, we want better housing. They keep screaming over these issues that are all extremely socialist, and look how much better their lives are. They even interviewed a French couple and they said, well, even with the higher taxes, he goes, how well are you living? And they go, oh, very well. And he says, and how happy are you? He goes, oh, we're happy. Can't you tell? My parents say it's a little propagandist, and it could be. It could be propaganda. Tell me what you think. And don't be a jackass about it.